What's up everybody, Subaru WRX fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2016 Ford Explorer Platinum. Huge thanks to Ford for providing me with this very nice press car to review for you guys today. So about the Ford Explorer Platinum, well, all the Explorers I think look really sharp here with this restyle. You have the very aggressive headlights there that are very slim and mean, while still being understated and kind of stately looking. I think these look really nice, especially here in the Platinum Edition. You have these satin chrome finishes around the door handles and the mirrors and things like that. And it doesn't look super big from the outside, but it definitely does have a commanding presence about it, and I think they look really good and handsome. As for the interior of the 2016 Ford Explorer Platinum, well, it's very nice as you would expect for a vehicle that starts out around $53,000 here in the Platinum trim, and this one has two options on it, and so now this one is $54,765. But a very nice place to be. First things first, sitting down in these seats, beautifully done, quilted leather here, and it's just really classy looking. I love it. You even have it on the door panels here, and combined with the metal and the wood and all the nice stitching and everything, it's one of the nicest Ford interiors I think I've ever seen. Really nicely done here. Very comfortable, soft, supple seats as well that have pretty good support. I mean, again, we're in a luxury SUV, so it's nothing crazy, but I mean they're very supportive. They hold you in place pretty well, for the type of driving you'll be doing in a vehicle like this, and overall they're just great seats. Next is the steering wheel, which is really nice. Your typical Ford wheel for the most part, but I mean it's got a very comfortable 9/3 grip here, and it's really nicely done here. I like the contrast stitching on it, and you have a good assortment of buttons here, for your adaptive cruise control and all that kind of stuff, as well as the two D-pads on both the left and the right to control your gauge information there. You also have paddles behind the wheel, which are pretty small and far back there, but I doubt that people will be using paddle shifters in these very often, but nice to have them nonetheless. Gauges in the Explorer Platinum here are very nice. You have the fully digital middle portion. You still do have the analog gauge readout, but even the needles for the gauges are digital, which is very cool. And so the right one there will give you your lane keep assist and adaptive cruise control information, all that kind of stuff there. The left hand side, with the tachometer, that also has your fuel economy and all those other additional utilities built into that there. In the center there is just choosing between whether you want to display your radio information, navigation information, or your phone. And so pretty simple and straightforward, but I think they're pretty attractive and very easy to read. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, it's pretty nice. It's very familiar to anyone else that's used any other Ford mainstream product here. You have the Sony branded stereo, which is 500 watts here in the Platinum, and sounds really great. I'll talk more about that later. But first off, here up top, you still do have the old sync system here. I thought that all the Fords for 2016 were getting Sync 3, but I guess it must be coming for 2017 here for the Explorer. So you still have the same old system. I have it in the Mustang, though. I love it. I think it's still perfectly fine, works well. It's not the fastest out there, but it gets the job done, and you don't really need to do too much there. I mean, all the basic functions it does. It has navigation, which still works perfectly well, and so overall it's a pretty nice responsive head unit, and I do like that it's got a black background too, so it doesn't it's not shining in your face constantly, which is nice to have. You also do have a front view camera you can use here, and so it's nice to have that if you're parking in tight spaces. It also does have auto park assist too, so you can hit that and it'll pull out of spaces and pull into spaces for you, and all that kind of stuff. So very cool to have that functionality as well for those that have trouble with parking. Coming down to the other controls here for the climate and the radio and things like that, all very nicely laid out, very easy and uncluttered. It's nice, just a few buttons on the left and the right, and then you have a nice big dial here for your volume in the middle here. It would be nice to have a tune knob as well. You just have a little rocker switch instead, but still nice nonetheless. And I do love how this volume knob is nicely finished off with this knurled metal finish. It's really cool. As far as storage space in the Ford Explorer Platinum, well, it is crazy, like you would expect for a really good SUV, you know, great for a family vehicle. Anyway, first things first, you have large map pockets here in the doors that also include a bottle holder there. Coming over the center, you have this nice little hidden compartment here that is two-tiered, and a nice little space there for a cell phone or something like that, and then a deeper space here as well. You also find a power outlet in there, as well as an SD card slot, and then a USB jack. So nice to have all those in there, and it's a nice depth. You can fit a good amount of stuff in there. You have your two standard cup holders here, and then you have a center armrest, which is very nice and softly padded, really well done there, great for resting your elbow on. Anyway, you open that up and you find this very deep center cubby here, which you see right up top here has a USB jack. You have a coin holder thing, and then it goes really deep down there, and so lots and lots of great usable space. One funny little quirk about the top of this center cubby here is you have a card holder and also a pen holder, which are fairly common in these things, but then you also have a lip balm holder, which is a first. It's the first time I've ever seen that in a car, and so if you like using lip balm, you're gonna love the Explorer. Backseat space in the Explorer, as you would expect for an SUV of this size, is awesome and really well set up for you know, being a family vehicle. This one, it has the option for the center console there and the two bucket seats. You can get a standard you know, 3-seat bench there, but nice to have that set up though, and it makes it very easy to get in and out of the third row, which this vehicle has as well. But first, focusing on the center row here, you have lots and lots of legroom. You can move the seat forward and backwards as well, but you know, plenty of legroom, and also tons of headroom as well for someone like myself. I'm 5'9", plenty of room, as you would expect, and then you just have all kinds of hookups and things like that galore. You have a standard power outlet there, you have two USB jacks, and then you even have flip down cup holders there as well. And here in the Platinum, you also have the heated second row seats there, and you can have your own climate controls and all that kind of stuff. So with the center console and the flip down cup holders, you also have two bottle holders in each of the rear doors there. So you have a total of 6 cup holders in the second row, which is an all-time record for me in a vehicle I've reviewed. In that second row center console, you do have a ton of space to store all kinds of stuff in there as well. Lots of different trays and whatnot, and so very versatile space there. That third row is very conveniently set up. First, I mean, to just get into the third row, you know, through the second row here, it's really easy. You just hit a button and the whole thing just flips forward for you. You don't have to touch a thing other than that button, and you have a wide space to just walk through and hop into the back there. So really nice there, and it's very easy to put back, of course. And that third row is actually very comfortable, and I got in the third row, and with the second row pushed back, and with the second row all the way back as far as it would go, I still had about an inch of legroom there. So again, someone 5'9" sitting in the third row fits just fine. Very impressively done. Normally third rows are really cramped and only good for tiny kids and stuff. This one, you can fit adults in that third row, no problem. That third row also stows away very nicely whenever you want it to. And so if you go around to the trunk space with third row up is actually still quite good. You can fit up, I'd say, at least 2 suitcases standing up right there in the trunk, but you can fold those that third row down very easily. All it takes is a push of the button. You can have them just either fold or stow away completely, and then they hide away very nicely. And then you have, of course, the very large cargo area like you would expect for an SUV of this type. And yeah, just very versatile, tons of space, and really well set up as a family vehicle. All right, so sorry, I'm gonna go for a drive. The Explorer here has the typical Ford key fob, which is nice. Has the you know, remote start as well. And anyway, it's keyless push button start. Of course, you just leave the key in your pocket, hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. All right, so setting off in the 2016 Ford Explorer Platinum. Well, first things you notice, you have a very commanding view of the road. You know, you're sitting up nice and high here in the Explorer, and so because of that, you can see out very nicely. You do have a little bit of a hood there, but it drops down pretty nicely, so you barely see it, and so you can you know, see forward very well. View out of the sides is very good as well. You have a B-pillar there, but it's thin enough it doesn't get in your way too much, and you can see right through to the rear windows very easily, so very easy to see around that, and view out of the back is very good as well. All right, so let's turn down onto this back road here and see how it does. Okay, it pulls pretty pretty strong. So this thing has a 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6 engine that does 365 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque, which is a pretty good amount. You know, I mean, this is a heavy SUV at around 4,900 pounds, but it gets it up and, you know, it goes pretty well. So 0 to 60 time is, you know, around 6.3 seconds roughly, and so very respectable performance. And of course, if you do want a sporty Explorer, they do have the Sport version. This is the Platinum, so it's set up to be a little softer, which is why as we go around some corners here, it definitely feels like it's on the softer side. But that's okay, because this is supposed to be set up for luxury and you know, be a family SUV, not a corner carver. And so make no mistake, this isn't really that sporty, but that's okay because it's a very smooth and soft ride, and it handles the corners very well. You know, it's just not something you would you know, want to go spiritedly through a back road with. But you know, like I said, it's amazing just how much it soaks up all the imperfections of the road, and I mean, you don't feel any little cracks or anything. I mean, it's impressively smooth. If you do want a more sporty handling SUV, Ford does offer the Edge Sport, which is definitely a lot sharper around corners, very flat, very little body roll, and just feels awesome going through corners. And I'm sure the Sport version of the Explorer here would feel similar as well. Out on the highway here, it's a really nice thing to just cruise around in because you have this very torquey EcoBoost V6. I mean, passing is a breeze, and you know, it's really nice at, you know, these higher speeds as well, and would be a very great road trip car, I think. So anyway, I have this vehicle for an entire week thanks to Ford, so I'm going to drive around all week here, and I'll come back and give you my final impressions. Alright, so I've been driving the 2016 Ford Explorer Platinum here for about a week now, and it's a really nice thing to just cruise around in. You know, obviously, as far as driving dynamics go, it's typical of a standard large SUV. You know, that's the way it handles, that's the way that it feels. The power is pretty good though. You know, the 3.5 liter EcoBoost does a good job of you know, getting it up and going. I didn't have any trouble, you know, looking for additional power or anything when merging onto the highway, stuff like that. So it's totally sufficient in that regard. And I do also have to say that this engine, at least in the Platinum trim, it's so refined and it's so well insulated, like you don't really even know what's going on with the engine unless you're looking at the tachometer. I mean, you don't hear it at all, honestly. It's pretty impressive, and so it's very refined in here. And so you know, I know a lot of people will, you know, flinch at the price tag and the idea of a nearly $55,000 Explorer, but whenever you know, consider just how nice this thing is, and one of the nicest features that this vehicle has that I forgot to mention earlier is massage front seats. So it'll massage both your bottom and your back with this massage function that the Platinums have here, which is a pretty rare feature to even have, period, and yet to have it in something less than $100,000 and something as inexpensive as, you know, $54,760, which is what this car's exact price is a really nice thing to have. And you know, I've been using it quite a bit, me and my wife both, while I've been driving this car, and it's really nice. And I imagine if you were going on a long road trip or something, it would probably even be nicer in circumstances like that. But just a really, really cool feature that I personally love, and I think a lot of owners of these Platinums will enjoy as well. Some things that owners of Platinums might not enjoy as much. The two only cons I really have with this vehicle is, one thing is it's great for transporting people around. Everyone that I drove around over the course of the past week was very impressed with it, and it was very comfortable and spacious and all that kind of stuff. But the one caveat with the back seat is the way that the back seat is cut out there with the door and the door frame. It makes it a little tricky to get in and out of sometimes, especially if you're in you know, tighter areas where you can't open up that rear door as wide as you would like. It's a little bit tough to get in and out just with how far up the seat goes, and so that's just a little you know, nitpicky thing, but could be annoying, you know, if you have kids getting in and out of the car on a regular basis and it's a tight squeeze, you know, as far as parking spaces and stuff like that go. The only other con I can mention is the fuel economy, which is something that's going to be a little tough for people to get used to. So this car is rated at 16 in the city and 22 on the highway for a combined average of 18. But in my week of driving now, it's been mostly city driving. But even with strictly city driving, it's rated at 16. I got 14, and that's with nearly 150 miles of driving here. A little bit of highways sprinkled in, but very little. Mostly city driving, but still was hoping to see at least 16, only a 14. So, you know, I mean, it's again a 4,900 pound SUV, and even though it does have an EcoBoost engine, it takes a lot of gas to move around this much weight, and that's just the way it is. Regardless of what kind of witchcraft you try and do under the hood, it's still something this heavy is never going to get phenomenal fuel economy unless you're all electric or something. So that's just, you know, one of the other cons. But again, people that are looking at large SUVs such as this, that's something you should be expecting already, and so shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. But yeah, I mean, the last thing I want to touch on again is the price, because like I said, this one is $54,760 as equipped, and again, platinum, loaded up, all the bells and whistles. I mean, it has the lane keep assist, the auto high beams, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And you know, it's really nice. I still wish I had the Sync 3 system, but I think that'll come next year, because that would help to make this a little higher tech feeling, I think, than it currently does. But it still does feel, you know, pretty refined, very high tech. Like I said, you can hardly hear the engine, and you know, it feels very expensive and very nice, and I think it's actually a little more refined than even some of the German competition at times. So overall, I mean, it's a really nice thing, and yes, it might seem like a high price whenever you consider it has a Ford badge, but if you get rid of that and actually check this out and drive it and, you know, check it out for yourself, I think you'll be really impressed, and I think that, you know, your money will go a lot farther in something like this than it will, you know, getting a base of, you know, some competitor car that you know, will have a lot less bells and whistles, and you definitely won't get massage seats, that's for sure. So but yeah, I mean, like I said, a really nice SUV here, and so yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Explorer, and thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.